Good morning. This is Mike Houston with your Friday morning weather hazard briefing for southeast Idaho. Looking at our summary page, we expect two Pacific disturbances will rotate through the region, one tonight and one Saturday night. They will result in wetting rains, at least with the first one, across the Stanley Basin and scattered showers elsewhere. Strong gusty winds will also accompany these storm systems with progressively cooler temperatures expected across the region. Frost freeze conditions are expected Monday morning, and we'll take a look at that here in a moment. And then as the ridge rebounds across the region next week, we expect to see a return of unseasonably warm and dry conditions. Here we are looking at satellite imagery this morning. The main low-pressure system now off the western Canadian coast, but we do have a disturbance rotating in towards Washington and Oregon, and a second one well off the coast here, working through the northeast Pacific. These systems will rotate through the region, impacting our weather over the next several days. Here we are looking at our weather impact matrix. We expect wind and showers across the region. The most impactful conditions will be the winds here in the Snake River Plain, where we have a wind advisory out for today. And then Saturday, we expect the winds to continue, along with a chance of showers up along the Montana and Wyoming Divide regions. But the winds will be the most impactful here in the Snake River Plain and portions of the Magic Valley. The next thing on tap is Monday morning. As things clear out behind those exiting storage systems, we do expect frost and freeze conditions here in the Magic Valley and Snake River Plain. And then as we work our way into midweek next week, we expect to see warmer temperatures. As I mentioned, we do have a wind advisory out for the upper Snake River Plain today, and a lake wind advisory down here in the American Falls region. We'll expand that area for tomorrow across all of the Snake River Plain here for wind advisory conditions. Looking at the storm track for this afternoon, we see that first impulse working into the northwest coastal waters. As a result, we will see temperatures generally in the 70s here in the Snake River Plain today, and 60s in the Central Mountains, and generally in the lower 70s here in the Southeast Highlands. Minimum humidities generally running in the 20s here in the Snake River Plain, 20s to 40s here in the Central Mountains, and generally running in the 20s here across the Southeast Highlands. If you're down here along the Utah border, we may see some teens in some of these valley locations, so keep that in mind. We are expecting winds to ramp up across the region this afternoon. Here we are looking at wind gusts of 35, maybe 40 here across the central Snake River Plain and some of the higher elevations of the Central Mountains. And as that storm system works on shore or into the shore late this afternoon, we do expect to see the leading edge of precipitation beginning to work into the Central Mountains Salmon region late this afternoon. As we work our way into the afternoon hours here, just showing the storm track here, really the upper jet now increasing, driving that storm into Washington and Oregon overnight tonight, and as a result we'll see precipitation, some fairly significant precipitation spreading into the Central Mountains, primarily the Stanley Basin, and then to a lesser extent here out in the Lemhi area, and with some light spotty precipitation over into the upper Snake Highlands. More than likely going to see some wetting rains here in the Stanley Basin overnight tonight, with upwards of a tenth to half an inch if you get up along the Sawtooth Crest here, expected in that region. That storm system shearing rapidly east here. We're looking at Saturday morning with the storm track shearing into the Wyoming border region. So we will see some trailing precipitation into the morning hours on Saturday, primarily up here in the eastern highlands, maybe some of it trailing back towards Burley and the Badger Creek fire. I wouldn't expect a whole lot of precipitation down there, but 500ths isn't out of the question. And daytime highs are going to be considerably colder. Here we are looking at highs generally in the low to mid 60s in the Snake River Plain, mid 50s to mid 60s in the Central Mountains, and generally in the 60s here across the Southeast Highlands. Daytime minimum relative humidities, again, since the cooler temperatures, we should see minimum humidities higher yet, generally in the lower 30s or lower 20s to lower 30s here in the Snake River Plain, and then generally in the 40s in the Central Mountains and Southeast Highlands. Winds will be a factor again on Saturday with strong gusty winds here throughout the Snake River Plain, portions of the Eastern Highlands, maybe a little lighter up in the Central Mountains, but generally Snake Plain, Southern Highlands will be impacted by this. As we work into Saturday afternoon, the storm track, we see the next disturbance now working through Washington State. That'll dive into the southeast into the northern Rockies here overnight, bringing us some light precipitation, mainly to the Montana and Wyoming Divide regions. Would expect a little more coverage here, but generally talking hundreds in terms of accumulations here in these regions overnight. That storm system exits off to the east. We should be drying out Sunday afternoon into Monday as a high-pressure ridge begins to pump up along the coast. As a result of the drier conditions going into Monday morning, we expect fairly cold temperatures across the regions. Here we are looking at a hard freeze across the upper Snake River Plain and probably a good strong frost down here in the eastern Magic Valley. So we'll expect to see some type of advisories or warnings as we work away into Monday morning for that. And with that ridge developing across the region starting Monday and continuing through the week, we expect to see daytime highs here on Thursday running back up towards 80 degrees here in the Snake River Plain and solidly in the 70s in the Central Mountains and Southeast Highlands. So summer isn't over yet. Okay, back to our summary. We do expect 2 Pacific disturbances to rotate through the region, one tonight and one Saturday night. At least the Saturday, or the one tonight, should result in wetting rains across the Stanley Basin and scattered showers elsewhere. We do expect strong gusty winds to accompany both of these systems as they work through the region, and they will result in cooler temperatures. We do expect a frost freeze advisory and warning as we work into Monday morning as conditions clear and temperatures plummet into the upper 20s and lower 30s across the Snake River Plain and eastern Magic Valley. And then we're looking at a return of unseasonably warm conditions by midweek next week as a ridge develops across the region once again. That's all I had for you here this morning. If you had any comments or questions, please give us a call here at the number on the screen. Thank you.